All right, folks, I want to welcome our guest to the show. It's Andy Webb coming to us from the UK. Good morning, Andy. Thanks for being on the show.
Yeah, thank you, Brian. Thank you.
Absolutely. It's my pleasure. I've been excited to talk to you. So let's get right into it. I'm going to talk about your book, The Armor of Light. But before we get into that, let's start with your background and talk a little bit about your history and what got you involved in the subject of the paranormal.
That's right, yes. When I was 25 years old, back in 1991, I had enough money to buy my first home. It was like a small two-bedroom house it was, and it was a set of modern houses. But it was built on the site of an old doctor's surgery called the Grange. And it was here between 1967 to 1970, the doctor and his band of many friends, they used to meet in the evening and practice the occult, Ouija boards, spiritualism, and they used to contact the dead. And what they did was almost on the verge of Satanism, which way they got involved with. It continued on to other pretty dreadful things as well, like holding satanic rituals with small animals and in the garage next door, and they buried the dead animals in the back garden. Anyway, suspicious neighbours, they contacted the police about what was going on most nights of the week. And the police raided the doctor's surgery about 1970. And many of the gang were arrested carrying out these satanic rituals. The gang were sent to prison for about several years by British law, which was like, murder against young animals. Anyway, the Grange, the doctor's surgery, the Grange was demolished, and the plot of land was sold to a ground company called Jonathan Dean Developments. And it was there that my house and several other houses were built about 1986. And my home and other people's homes as well inherited terrible paranormal activity due to what happened on this plot of land about some 15 years before. And my home literally blew up with pretty dreadful stuff about 1996. Many of my neighbours moved out of their homes because they were renting their homes, but I was the only person that actually had a mortgage on the house, so I had to continue paying the mortgage. And it all started in April the 18th, 1986, April 1996, when a dirty, great, cloudy thing came through my wall about 2 o'clock in the morning. And, that's during pitch black darkness, and I was totally devastated by what happened. And this great cloudy thing was a demon. And this thing was experienced and seen by previous neighbours before, which they warned me about. Anyway, the electric lights cut out, came on again, cut out, came on again for about a full week after this thing came and went. And then this, after the appearance of this thing, also came several nights later, a black figure wearing a long black cloak, standing by the bedroom door about 2 o'clock in the morning. And this thing is an angelic being. It's a black angel from hell. And this thing stood by the bedroom door staring at me for quite some time, until after some while I had the courage and guts to say, in the name of God, I command you to get out of my home. And after several moments, it turned around and then disappeared through the wall. Anyway, about a few nights later after that, I was woken up by a huge crash, bang, wallop on my bedroom wall. And an old man with chattering teeth came swishing across the bedroom. And the figure was flickering like one of those animated Walt Disney characters you get when you do the flickerball cartoon animated pictures. And that disappeared after about 5 seconds. We continued to have paranormal strange intermittent electrical failures in the house. And we had things move about as well, like tea bags and all sorts of coffee cutlery was put in the washing machine. What else happened? We had an old woman as well that used to go past you at night time as well, which was like powerful electrical voltage. It continued like this for about 6 months until we eventually got a Baptist church minister called the Reverend David Holmwood to come and carry out an exorcism on my home. And he came through the door and he looked around my house and he said, I can see why these ghosts have come to you, Andrew. You filled up your home with pretty dreadful, bad stuff. For several years at college, I was a history student studying the Third Reich. And as you know, many members of the Third Reich, including Heinrich Himmler, that ran the SS, were heavily involved with the occult, black magic, and Satanism almost. And I had many video cassettes, artifacts, and books and magazines on the Third Reich. And all this sort of stuff which I was playing on my video record at the time was acting like a big invitation message, power magnet to pretty dreadful spirits and ghosts and things. I'd woken up loads of dormant, sleeping sort of spirits and ghosts and things like that. And they took this as like an invitation message to come to my home. And I felt like I was that Mickey Mouse, the Magician's Apprentice. I'd started something, but I didn't know how to stop it. And anyway, he carried out an exorcism, and he said, also your home, you have put many pictures on your wall, with ancient Egyptian hieroglyphic pictures, like the ancient Egyptians did with all pharaohs' headdresses. And in these pictures were iconic icons, also with spiritualist invitation messages to them as well. And a lot of these pictures had to come off the walls, and we carried out an exorcism in every room, and all my Nazi stuff and also all my Egyptian pictures had to be put in a big plastic sack and taken up the dump, because they were acting like a big invitation message to all these spirits. Cut long story short, it continued like this for about the next 10 years. It gradually fizzled out after a long, long time, but it never entirely went. And at the end of all this, of course, I was inspired to write a fictional storybook based on what happened to me. And, it was a bit embarrassing as well, because several years later, I met a lady that was going to become my wife, and she was due to move in with me. And she moved in, and she was standing in the kitchen one day, one afternoon while I was at work, and she was cooking the evening meal. She felt something push her from behind. And also, she was sleeping on the bed one morning while I'd gone to work, and she felt something come into the room and literally sit on the bed. And she rang me up at work saying something was coming into the room and sat on the bed. And it just continued like this until 2001 it was, when I literally sold the house. And it was just a persistent paranormal activity which refused to go. Yeah. And anyway, after all this, I was inspired to write a storybook, a fictional storybook based on a family that had moved into their new house and experienced the same sort of paranormal activity that I had. But of course, I didn't want to write it about myself and give away all my address and everything where I lived, because it would cause bad arguments and legal suing from neighbours that lived around me. They'd take the court saying, because of what you've written and published, Andrew, you've caused all sorts of, reputational damage to my property. So I had to write like a fictional story. Yeah, that's what happened, Brian. But that's basically what happened. But a lot of this was very rare and unique. I wrote a story to a very popular national magazine. Perhaps you can see that. I'm on the front page. And I've written my book as well. But a lot of people do say that my work has a lot of potential to it. And so I saw your website on the internet as it clicked out on Facebook. So I thought I'd reply to that. Yeah. But that's basically what happened without spending too much time. Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you reached out. And I want to talk a little bit about your history before you moved into this particular house. Did you have any type of activity before the house? Did you even believe in the paranormal, or was it something that literally started when you moved into this home?
Yes, I did believe in the paranormal. My parents were church-going people, and I went to 2 different churches before I actually moved into this property in Camberley, Surrey. And I was always warned, there is never contact the dead. There are such a thing as ghosts. There's a place called heaven. There's a place called hell. And there is a Satan. And also, my father told me at the time, back in the 1960s, he held a Ouija board session with his friend, a next door neighbour friend called Brian Neller. And they accidentally contacted my dad's grandfather. And he said, Don, which was my father, he said, I've got a message for you. It's okay to move back to London. And also, your mother will be dead by Christmas. And it goes, my father, oh my God, you know. And anyway, this actually did happen in the winter of 1966 in southern London. My grandfather actually did have a car crash, and he crashed the car. And the following morning, my father's mother died of a heart attack in the winter of 1966. And everything was told through the Ouija board did come true. Yeah, and I've never forgotten that as well. And also, we Brits, we're great believers of ghosts and the supernatural. Apparently, the London Underground, which has been more and more publicised, the London Underground train network is absolutely full of ghosts. During the building of this over 100 years, they disturbed so many mass graves from the plague. Many people have been killed in train crashes down there on the Northern Line, the Piccadilly Line, the Southern Line, and so on and so forth. It's a well-known fact that the London Underground train network is full of ghosts. And so many people go to work on the London Underground and they're there a few weeks and they say, I'm not coming back there. I've seen something that is downright scary. I've seen something on the TV monitors. And, you know, we've seen a young woman wearing a brown skirt and a brown jacket with long blonde hair. And I said to her, madam, you can't get out. You know, we have to let you out because the station's all locked up. And the woman has just disappeared into thin air. And have so many people of all nationalities have come forward saying that London Underground train network is absolutely full of spooks, and we have trouble trying to keep our staff, you know, due to all this paranormal activity. Yeah.
So when you actually reached out for help and you had these priests come in, and
Yes,
at least on two occasions you said they did an exorcism of the home,
that's right. Yes.
do you believe, or did they shed any light on the majority of this stuff? You mentioned the pictures and the Third Reich stuff that you were
That's right.
studying
Yes.
in school that played a part in this, obviously. But was
Mm.
it their opinion that what this doctor and this group of people that were practicing the satanic worship or these
Yes.
kind of things before that, is that what drummed all this stuff up, or is that what you believe?
It certainly was. Yes. This property inherited loads of spirits that have been contacted to the doctor's surgery that stood there before. And the guy that came to carry out the exorcism twice was a guy called the Reverend David Holmwood. It was a very competent church minister. He's also been on British TV as well. He's been on Carol Vorderman's Mysteries program, in which he came on the program and gave testimony and witness about all previous exorcisms he's had to carry out before. And so many homes that are full of ghosts are filled up with pretty dreadful stuff to do with voodoo, you know, the Nazi SS, and the ancient Egyptian pharaohs that were involved with spiritualism as well. So he came to carry out the exorcism twice. And, as he went in every room, we prayed in every room that all the spirits would leave. And we opened up all the windows so that spirits could get out, because we prayed in the love, blood, and power of Jesus Christ that these spirits will be ejected. And these spirits will be ejected with such force they will actually smash windows to get out. So we had to open up all the windows. And things did gradually change after that. But it took a very, very long time, though. But it never entirely went with this paranormal activity. Yeah.
And you mentioned that it got physical once your wife moved into the house. Is she the
Yep.
only one that experienced sort of the physical attacks, or did you experience that as well?
I did experience it on and off for quite some time. We had, let me see now, we had the ghost of an animal, a young dog. It was a puppy dog, like an Alsatian dog. I woke up to go to bed, so I'd go to the toilet one night, and there was like a ghost of a dog standing by the bed. And this dog sort of, it was like a transparent, semi-opaque black image. And that just turned around after several moments, then disappeared through the wall. What else was there? There was a young woman that kept sitting on the bed with her hair tied back in a big bun. And she had a long Victorian skirt on, about 1900. And she was a small woman. And I stared at this woman. And after some while, she turned her head and stared back at me. And it was a semi-opaque black image. And after about 15 minutes, this woman gradually disappeared. What else did she have? Oh, she felt something sit on the bed. There was other things as well. She said that also electrical appliances were turned on as well, like the extractor fan, the Kenwood chef blender. Electric lights were turned on by themselves as well. Yes, that's a typical another sign of paranormal activity. They're like turning electrical appliances on and playing with things as well. They're like making their presence known. Yeah,
And you said it never stopped. So obviously,
yeah,
how long after the exorcism did you see a change in things immediately,
yeah,
or did it take over time after the exorcisms
yeah.
were
It
performed?
it took about 3 years till it gradually settled down a bit, but it didn't entirely go. But what it is, I had to cut down on playing video cassettes to do with bad, negative, demonic things. I had to get sort of like, we had to put on the walls um, photographs and pictures of a religious nature, like praying hands. We had another one of the Lord Jesus Christ, and my wife comes from the Ukraine, and she brought some religious pictures as well, with like Mary and Joseph and Mary and Jesus and things like that. We put those on the walls, and we hang those, and that acted like a good positive influence, which sort of cleansed the environment of the whole house. Yes.
I'm always curious how you handle a situation like that when you're in a home as a homeowner, obviously, and you sell
Yes.
the place to leave. How do you handle that conversation with the people that are buying it? Do you have a
Yes.
conversation with them about the activity, or do you just pass it on and hope for the best for them?
I didn't mention it at all to anyone. Um, Although by British law, we were told that if there's any problems with the property whatsoever, you are legally bound and legally obliged to write it and state it down on paper if there's any problems at all. And to sell this property, I had to really pray to God that that they would not find out about the history of this land, or about the history of this property. I kept quiet about it. I did not mention a word about any paranormal activity or the bad story that this property was built on. So I get, shh, don't tell a soul. I had to. It took us 2 years to sell this property because it was in the recession of 2011. Yeah, it took us 2 years to sell the property, and to actually move on. I had to keep very, very quiet. I had to deny all knowledge about what happened with this property years ago. My wife as well, she was not happy living in this house that we lived in. She suffered bad nightmares, and so did I. I kept seeing figures of 666 very regularly in dreams at night. I used to suffer bad dreams, bad nightmares, and it was almost impossible, mentally impossible, trying to sleep in this house. And my wife felt very ill and very depressed living in this place. And she said to me, Andrew, if you don't sell this property so we can buy a decent house somewhere else, I'll divorce you and I'll leave you. And that's the ultimate. She was going to file for divorce if I didn't sell this house. And that's the sort of situation that I was in. So I kept damn quiet to any future buyers about what was going on in this house and what had happened before. So that's the situation I was in. You just got to deny all knowledge of it. I know nothing. I know nothing about that.
Well,
So
it's sort
that's
of
where we
like
left it.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
like a catch 22, right? If you do tell
certainly
people,
was.
they probably think you're crazy, right?
Yes, too right. Yeah, yeah. I
If they don't
mentioned this to
believe.
my colleagues at work. Yeah, I mentioned all these stories to my colleagues at work, and they said that bloke Andrew Webb's a strange one. This does get you a strange, bad reputation at the office. And they keep some people keep thinking you're mentally ill, mate. You're not right in the flipping mind. You talk about this sort of thing that you've seen this and you've seen that. You've probably got some mental illness, possible schizophrenia or something. So what it is, this is a situation you've got to live with this and keep quiet about it. Otherwise, you'll get yourself a very strange reputation. Yeah.
So you decided to write the book, and I
Yes.
certainly understand the reason why you approached it the way that you did, creating
Mhm.
this fictional storyline with this family. So,
Yes.
what was the project like? What was the process like for you to write the book and sort of relive some of those experiences that you had? Was it
It
tough
certainly
for you,
was.
or was it a cathartic thing? Do you think it helped you overall to write the book?
It certainly did. It felt. Just 1 second, please. I've got my wife. Sorry.
Your wife always comes first. I can edit that out.
Oh no, speak the devil, it shall appear. It's all right, this is, quite an important thing, which I've been waiting for all day. Yes, just 1 second. That's better now. Sorry. Yes, reliving, writing down all what had happened. I had so much material to write a book. It was rare and unique, and it was never written about before. And I used to love writing stories. So I've always loved written stories. Written work at school was really my great asset and my great aspiration. What else happened? I was also inspired by J.K. Rowling as well. She, at the time, this is back in the mid-1990s, it was, she had great success with Harry Potter and all this sort of thing. And she had quite a past with her life as well. I had a lot of memories about my life, what happened with me, which inspired me to write a book. I literally wrote and wrote and wrote non-stop for several weeks with all this material that I had. I didn't have to think of anything for a minute at all. And anyway, but it took me about a year to finish the book. And I sent it off to 4 publishing companies. And it was accepted 4 times by publishing companies up in London. The Americans showed a great deal of interest in it. They were, because they thought, this sort of story should be made into like a television program. It's very racy. It's got a very fast-moving, very racy, fast-moving storyline. I mean, it's not full of, some people put full their stories up with loads of waffle, but mine is full of, it's all contents and no package, if you know what I mean. It's all full of so much meat. It's all meat and no potatoes, if you know what I mean. And the Americans did say that it has massive potential. It says possibly so it could be made an American TV program as well, because so many films are very popular in Hollywood, and they make so much grossing revenue. The film production companies, and I did send it off to some production companies, and they said, yeah, it's a very, very good story, but it'll be expensive to make. And they said, oh, crikey, it's a bit outside our budget, Andrew. It's a great story, fantastic, but it's a bit outside our budget. Sorry, it's a no. And because over the money side, they gave it the thumbs down. That's about all I can say really on that one. But I'm still continuing with, people do say, I've spoken to other people who are saying, your story is an extremely good, well-written story. It's got a lot of appeal to it and it has massive potential. But they said, Andrew, still continue to advertise your story. And I'm so sure it will get picked up one day, 1 month, whenever. It will be taken forward. Yeah.
Well, lots of people listen to this show. So somebody out there may be listening right now that may be interested in that. So after you completed the book project and you and your wife moved on to a new house, have you had other activity since then, or did it completely stop once you guys left the property?
It's funny you should say that. When we moved to our new house now, which is North Camberley in Surrey, UK, some of the ghosts actually came with us. And we have had some funny goings on. We bought 3 dogs. Perhaps you can hear them now. We got through 3 little Chihuahua dogs, and they've actually managed to pick up on things moving during the night. We had the old woman that sat on the side of the bed. She has actually came with us as well. And she has actually made some appearances in our bedroom during the night as well. That was the old woman that wore her hair back in the bun. And also, we've had the previous owner as well, a woman called Sue Meffam. She actually died in this house as well. That's why the house was up for a quick sale. Her little brother wanted to sell the house very quickly. Sue Meffam actually died in his house. And anyway, our dogs have actually picked up on figures that have been standing on the stairs. I've also slept sometimes in the living room at the back of the house, and they've actually seen some figures move from the door across the lounge and gone out through the garden as well. So we've actually had some spiritual activity, which has been mainly picked up by our 3 little dogs. And as you know, animals are very suspective. to picking up spiritual presences as well. And also, some funny guy at my office, I told him about this as well. And for one Christmas present, he gave me a Ouija board. One Christmas. Oh, thank you very much indeed. Richard, thank you much. I think they're trying to be funny. So I took it home in my case. And one evening I took it out while me and the wife were in the just alone in the house. And the actual glass did start scooting across the table to different letters. And I said, can you please spell your name, please? S-U-E. That's the previous owner, Sue Meffin. And we've also had the glass shoot off to the letters Mo, M-O, which could be the lady that came with us. Anyway, after many appearances, I did actually tell this ghost of the old lady that kept sitting on the side of our bed, look to the light and go. This is not your home, this is our home. You should please find your way across to the other side. Please look to the light and go. And this woman disappeared, and we never saw her again after that. So that's other spiritual sort of occurrences we've had in the house we've had now. Yeah. So I'm very much a person. Yes, there certainly is ghosts and spirits in an afterlife, especially as I've been to church many years of my life. I've been told by many intelligent church ministers, both in the Church of England and the English Baptist Church, there is a God, there is a Satan. You must never contact the dead. It's from these people that are perfectly intelligent people that there is an afterlife, there is a spirit world. Yeah. Perhaps, like it is in the United States. I do believe about half the country goes to church in America, and much the same has been said in the United States as well. So that's where we are so far. I've got my book published. I've got a great advert in the my magazine as well. I did send it off to American TV publication TV companies as well. They said, great idea, but it's going to be expensive to make. And we've never heard of you before, Andrew Webb. How do we know this is going to work out? There's loads of people around the world say, who the hell's Andrew Webb? Don't know. So it's a matter of getting your name out there persistently and well known, and then they'll start accepting you and your work. So it's that I've been working on.
Well, I'm glad you reached out, and I'm glad we could do our small part on this show. Yeah, it's one of those things I totally get. If J.K. Rowling's name was attached to the book, nobody would be telling her it's too expensive to make, right?
It's all right.
But if you're not J.K. Rowling, then you have those issues.
Yeah.
Where can people find the book? Where can they pick it up? Where's the best way to find it?
Yeah, they can find it on Amazon. Amazon have got it. That's right. Yeah. I've also got my own website as well. Andy-Webb.com, I think it is. But I've also got my own website as well. It's called, and I'm under the name of Andy Webb. The book's called The Armour of Light. But if you search on the internet, I've got my own website as well. It's quite a well-written website. It's been on there for about 2 years now. You can buy it on Amazon. Yeah.
I will link to all that in the show notes for you guys to pick up the book and check out the website. Andy Webb, thanks so much for coming on and sharing your story, man. I had a blast talking to you.
Thank you. Thanks much indeed.
Well, that was awesome, man. Hopefully we'll get some books sold, and maybe we'll get some interest drummed up. I know a ton of people in the TV industry and that are interested in those kind of stories. So
certainly, of course. Yeah, as I say, it's got a lot of information attached to it. A lot of people have filled up their homes with pretty bad stuff, and many people throughout history have been involved with spiritualism. Politicians, I mean, Hitler's Reich, they were heavily involved with it, as we knew what a bunch of bad guys they were, and they had to go, they had to get the boot. Also, the ancient Egyptians were heavily involved with spiritualism as well, when those artifacts and paintings and things. There's Tutankhamun, Ramses, Cleopatra, all that stuff. Be careful also people that put pictures of voodoo sort of paintings on the walls with like an eye. Again, that is like a magnet towards bad sort of vibrations and bad energy. So please be careful for what you bring into your home. Yeah.
Very good advice. Well, I will get this turned around. Probably it'll be out next week or the week after. I don't know what I've got in the hopper as far as shows is concerned, but it'll be in the next couple of weeks. And I'll certainly send you a link for you to post on your website, your social media, wherever you want to put it for folks. I
Mm,
got a pretty big audience in the UK and some
yeah,
folks in
sure.
Australia and all around the world. Everybody, my show's listened to in about 60 countries around the world overall.
Mm,
So lots of people are going to hear this.
okay, thanks. Um,
Yeah.
they probably must think I'm an absolute crank, but having lived what I've lived through, it's a bit nerve-wracking trying to explain all this. You
Yeah.
know,
And the
yeah,
beautiful thing about a show like this and my listeners is nobody thinks you're crazy, including me.
yeah,
Nobody, I don't think you're crazy, and none of my listeners. That's why they tune in because,
yeah,
there's a lot of skeptical people. I'm skeptical. I was a cop for 16 years and I have a very skeptical approach to most everything, but I can tell when people are being genuine and when they're not.
yes,
And so can my listeners. And, that you're obviously genuine in your story and that translates
mm,
through your voice and people pick up on that and they'll embrace the story and they embrace you, which is a great thing. Nobody thinks you're a crackpot. This listening to this show, I guarantee you.
mm, okay, yeah,
But yeah, I'll definitely either I or my producer Danny will send you a link once we get it done, so you can listen to the final product once I get it all edited and put together, and um, it'll be out in the next couple of weeks.
okay. Thanks for today, Brian. Any more you want to talk to me about at all?
No, I think I'm
Okay,
good.
right. It's all right. I'm not thinking, have I said the right thing here? Oh my God, will it be accepted positively? Will it
Oh
be
yeah.
accepted negatively?
No, I think it was great, man. You came
Yeah,
across genuine and you told your story the way that it happened, so
yeah,
I think it's perfect.
yeah, too right. Okay, okay. You say you're a cop. My dad was a cop for 28 years.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Yeah, I was the city of Atlanta cop here, and well, I was born and raised in Georgia, and I'm in North Carolina now in the states.
yeah,
But
yeah. My father was in it. He started off on motorbikes, then he transferred to the river police. The reason why I joined it, I've got to be honest with you, the British cops' job was not very good, but the wages were really, really, really good. And he was told by his future father-in-law, if you want to marry my daughter, you've got to get yourself a proper, really good paid job. And so I go, well, easy. I'll join the police then. And, they were paying extremely high wages in England, but the jobs they get you to do are pretty horrible.
yeah, it's the opposite here. The pay is usually horrible. I
No,
think when I came out of the academy, I was making 30 grand a year, and that's not a lot depending on what city
no.
you're living in here. But when I left, I was at like $55,000 after 16 years. But
Mm,
you know, people are making that and management jobs running a McDonald's, and I'm getting shot at on the streets. It just didn't make sense to me. So
I
I
don't
left
blame
in
you.
I left in 2016 and moved on to something else. And now I podcast full time. I've got 3 shows that I do. So I just started doing that full time about 3 months
Mm,
ago. So
mm. I appreciate your interest in me, Brian.
absolutely,
Um,
man.
yeah, normally in England they take a very negative view of this, but in America they're very keen to hear about it. It's one extreme to the other. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
sure.
it's a lot different over here. Like I said, the people that listen to this show, especially, they'll love it because it's from the UK. Because I don't have a
Mm,
ton of folks. I've had 3 or 4 people from the UK on the show, but they love the fact that it's somebody with an accent.
mm,
It's just
yeah, it's all
just
right.
the way that it is, and then
Yeah,
just the story is different, and
mm,
then your take on the book, I think, is something else that they'll enjoy too, and
yeah,
why
it's
you
all right.
did it that way. People
Sure.
relate to that because other
Yeah,
people have
sure.
been in your situation where they can't talk about what happened in their house or what happened within their family and stuff like that. So they'll relate to it on a bunch of different levels, I think.
Mm. Yeah, strange thing was, since I sold the property in 2011, that property has been up for sale 4 times in 10 years. I wonder why. They're probably thinking, oh my God, there's something not nice about this place. I feel ill living there and I sleep badly every night. And I get these appearances of things that just won't leave me alone. So I thought, shh, don't tell them. If they find out that this place was haunted and I've lied on the flipping documents, I'd end up going to court. I'll end up being sued. They'll take me to bloody court about it. Yoik.
Yeah.
Yeah, too right. Oh, dear old Lord. Mum's the word, eh? Yeah,
Yeah.
keep it zippered, Zippy. We've all got secrets up our sleeves about our lives, but I'm afraid that's one of the big ones of my life. Oh, God. Yeah,
Just deny, 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 right?
yeah, too right. Too right. I know nothing. God, blimey.
All right. Well, I'm going to hop off here. I got a bunch of editing I got to do. So you have a good rest of your evening,
Will do.
and
Yeah, thanks.
I'll stay in touch for sure.
Certainly will do. Yeah, thanks, Brian. I appreciate your interest. Thank you so
Absolutely.
much. Stay in touch, eh? Thank you.
Have a good one.